Jeff Grubb, GamesBeat, and now I am reviewing another Pro controller, the, let's see here, PowerA Fusion Pro controller for the Xbox One. There's the box, and here it is. You can see the first thing you're going to notice, and hopefully the lighting is alright, are these fancy colors. There's this V, and then below the analog sticks there's also some lights. And I had it set to change color, but there's buttons on the back here. I think if I hit the buttons I can turn the colors, maybe turn them off and stuff, and I can set the colors I want, though I prefer to have it changing colors. There we go. Alright, so clearly that's the eye-catching thing, but that's not what the controller is really about. It's billed as a Pro controller. Basically what that means is this is the alternative to going out and getting one of those Xbox One Elite controllers. So let's go ahead and make the comparison. First, what's really different? The price. The Elite controller, which I have downstairs, you know all about it by now. That's $150, $150. For $80, I believe, $70 to $80, you can get this. So for half the price, you're getting a Pro controller, and it does have many of the same features. I'll go over those right now. So while you can't take off the analog stick on here like you can with the Elite, it does sort of have these big, broad analog sticks. They feel good to press. It also has adjustable triggers by hitting these switches right here, and now it's a short press compared to this long one. Maybe you can hear that. Additionally, it has these paddle buttons. So when you're holding it, you can you don't have to take your fingers off the face buttons or off the analog stick to like do jumps and stuff. Those are things I really liked about the Pro controller or the Elite controller, and they work here. Also, this is a 3.5mm jack. Yeah, those are the basic functions. But so like I was saying, all these extra features, all these extra buttons, that's what I liked about the Elite controller, and they kind of work here, but they also don't. Let me talk about the things I do like first. So obviously I do like the colors. They're neat. I mean, it is catching my eye. It's fun. I like those silly kind of things. I would put like giant lights on my cars if I could pull it off. I'm a nerd, so I can't, but if I could, I would. So instead I just do it with my gaming peripherals, like my mouse. So I like that. I also like the way it feels when I'm playing in general. That doesn't carry across to every game like it does with the Elite. But with this one, if I was just playing Rocket League, I have it connected to my PC right now. I didn't really think about the controller much, which I appreciate. But I don't think that's going to be the case with everything, and I'll tell you why. First, these buttons in the back, and I'm getting to the stuff I don't like now, because the stuff I like is basically it's almost as good as a regular Xbox One controller. It's pretty good for a third-party controller, I'll say that. But getting back to the things I don't like now, and this is going to be a little bit more lengthy. These buttons in the back are nowhere near as good as they are on the Xbox One Elite. And the reason is when I'm holding it normal, first of all, my index finger naturally drapes across both buttons. If I try to hold it so that I have one finger on each one of these buttons, it feels awkward in my hands. Also, it is nearly impossible to press these lower buttons with my ring finger. So I'm holding it like this, and I try to press it, and every time I press it, especially with my right hand for some reason, every time I try to press this one, my middle finger also hits the button above, accidentally. And you're not going to want that when you're playing games. And it requires so much force that it's like, it almost hurts. So if I kind of try to, like, first of all, if I just do it with my index or my middle finger, it sort of defeats the purpose. Because the whole point is you're going to have one finger on one button so you can press it instantaneously the moment you need it in the game. You get to a point where you're not even thinking, and it's even better than using the face buttons. That's the whole idea. So if I have only one finger for 2 buttons, and I kind of have to roll my knuckle in to hit it, like, let me see if I can do that. So right now I'm hitting the top one by rolling my knuckle, but I'm like really thinking about it. I'm really trying to get my hand to move in the right way, and that's just not going to work. So I'm not a fan of these back buttons. Maybe for driving games where you're shifting and you only want to use like the top buttons, and you're not like as you like paddle shifters, maybe that'll work. But you're sort of settling here. Like, you're not getting nearly like elite quality with this. Another thing I don't like is it's wired. It's only wired. I get it. It's a pro controller, and wired is sort of preferred. But I like having the option. I mean, this is really just a USB cord plugged into here. You're not going to get any more delay using an Elite with the awesome, like, tethered or the braided USB controller or USB cord that they included with that one. You're not going to get any more lag with that. That's going to be just fine if you plug that in. But this is only wired. You can't do wireless. Again, I understand that's because it's pro. I understand Microsoft is very weird with their wireless technology, and they don't license that out very well. So I get it, but it's still a knock against the controller. Let's see, another thing I don't like is the weight distribution. This is something on a normal controller I wouldn't think about much. You know, something comes with the system, you sort of take it at face value. You might not like some things about it, but it's like, okay, kind of came with the system. I'm just gonna have to learn how to use it. This is just what it is. When you start throwing words like pro and you start selling things for a premium, you know, $80 instead of 65, which is the normal controller, you sort of expect a better, something to feel more solid. And compared to the Elite especially, and even compared to the standard, this feels a bit cheap. Feels a bit rickety. Especially in the handles here. They feel hollow, and they make that kind of gross empty noise. And it just doesn't slide into your hands the way you want something that's premium to slide into your hands. Like my knuckles or my pinky, see how they just kind of, they're starting to, like, I'm gripping it and they just start sliding off. It can't grab anything. There's nothing to hold. And it's like, it's not weighted down, so it's like kind of trying to force itself into that knuckle like on the Elite. And it's just, there's no, you know, great, the material is not very good. It just doesn't feel great in the hands. Let's see. I had one more thing. Well, I guess it was kind of touching on it right there. It just feels, it feels cheap. And it's not just because it's not heavy. It is these materials. I do say one thing: the analog sticks feel pretty good. They're a little bit more resistant than the standard Xbox One controller. They don't drift as much. They do have a little bit of a wobble. You sort of do that, which is a gross thing to probably do on video, and I'm sorry. But they're going to be fine. So I would kind of say, in general, if you're in the market for, you know, a high quality controller and you don't want to spend $150, I think I kind of give my very hesitant recommendation to this. There's a bunch of caveats to that, though. I would try to get your hands on one first to see if it's going to be comfortable to you. I would know whether or not you're okay with corded only. You know, this is a long cord. I believe it's about 9 feet long. That's really long, but it wasn't long enough to reach from my Xbox One to my couch. It's good for the PC, but on my couch I had to use an extension USB cord, which thankfully I have. And I would kind of not go into this expecting to be able to use these paddles in the way that someone with a SCUF controller does, or the way someone with an Elite controller does. You're not gonna have that same instant reaction that someone with those really high-end controllers do. So it's a hesitant recommendation. I would almost just say, if you're going to spend $80, just spend $65 and get one of the 3.5 millimeter revised Xbox One controllers, or just suck it up, save the $70 to, you know, on top of this, to pay the $150 to get the Xbox One Elite, because that is an excellent controller, the best one I've ever used. I think that's going to do it for this review. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. My glasses are fogging up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, and I don't think there is. It's a pretty controller, though. It is nice. It is cool. I will probably end up using it with my PC a lot, so I guess keep that in mind. That the things I'm knocking it about doesn't mean I'm not going to use it. I like that it's corded for my PC play. It means I don't have to like try to go find a spare USB cable to use with my Xbox One controllers. I could just plug in this one and use it for that. And I think for the most part, that's going to be good because I'm never going to be using any game that I'm going to be wanting paddles for. I'll just play with the keyboard and mouse. So yeah, if you want, maybe that's what I should be saying. It's a hesitant recommendation unless you're looking for something for the PC, in which case, yeah, this might be the one. All right, well, I think that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. Again, Jeff Grubb, GamesBeat, like and subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll catch you next time.